if you think about it, coffee is kind of like one of those very few truly magical items that exists outside of fantasy. It's like the elixir of the gods or something. Welcome back to the JRPG Weekly Update, everyone. I'm SuperDerek, and before we really jump into the news today, I wanted to send a special thank you to everybody who hit that like button last week when I was feeling really put out by the whole debacle surrounding the computer crashing and having to like reinstall everything from scratch in order to even record an episode. So thank you all a whole lot. And if I can just speak frankly here for a moment, I don't really like asking for likes and subscribes, really. That's why I just don't. I feel like maybe this sort of news format works better for it than it does with my game collection videos. And honestly, the weird thing about these news videos is that they seem to be getting more traction than my actual review videos. And I guess that's because they sort of just appeal to more people. Like, everybody's interested in the news, but only the people who are interested in Kingdom Hearts would be interested in a review of Kingdom Hearts 3, right? So it's just kind of weird. Thank you again for hitting that like button last week, because it really did cheer me up a little bit, believe it or not. And yeah, if you want to click the like button, and only if you want to click the like button, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, don't. Now, let's talk about some news. The JRPG Weekly Update headline of the day is that Ys 9 got a bit of a trailer. And it's not really a very long trailer. It's about a 15-second trailer, but it's not really the length that matters. It's how full it is. And it's full of a lot of very important information that I think is very relevant to people who are interested in Ys 9 like I am. Ys 9, for people who haven't been following this, is a direct follow-up to Ys 8. It is new ground that they're treading. This is not a port of something else. And this is a game that they're making for the Nintendo Switch, for the PlayStation 4. And I thought that it was going to look a little bit better than it does. I think they probably could have done a little bit more graphically. But the important thing that we're taking away from this trailer, or at least that I'm taking away from it, is that discussion that we had earlier with one of the main guys behind the Ys series. Said with Ys 9 they wanted to focus more on the verticality of levels, right? And I think that's sort of something that is reflected by this trailer, because it starts off with Adol running up a sheer wall, right? And then a little bit later shows another character who's like flying around. It definitely looks like they're focusing a lot more on that Z-axis, which is, or actually would that be the Y-axis? So it shows also like a girl with some cat ears, and that looks pretty cool. For those who also don't know, they also got a release date of September 26th in Japan, but we haven't yet received a word about when that's coming out in the United States, or in the rest of the West, for that matter. Here's an update for Atelier Ryza, which I spoke about the other day. Atelier Ryza was recently announced on the Japanese version of basically a PlayStation magazine, and in that release, that announcement, they announced that it was coming to PlayStation 4, but as it turns out, it's also going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch and to PC as well, which is pretty great. Also, the game has a subtitle. It is Atelier Ryza, the Queen of Eternal Darkness and Secret Hideout. It's quite the long tagline there. That is coming to PS4 and Switch this fall in Japan, but again, no real word on the PC release or on when that's coming out in English. Also, Timespinner, which is a kickstarted game that looks sort of like Symphony of the Night. It's going to be coming out for the Switch and Xbox One. The game was already released for PC, PS4, and Vita, but they announced that it's going to be coming out on June 4th, which, for those who aren't aware, is tomorrow. That was really quick. Unfortunately, though, they also in the same breath announced that the previously planned 3DS version of the game has unfortunately been canceled. And that's not really surprising. The 3DS is coming to the end of its lifespan at this point. Also, Larian Studios launched a website this week teasing what is almost certainly Baldur's Gate 3. Very little is announced. It's just a Roman numeral 3 on their site, but after some digging into like the metadata of the site, it looks like it's confirmed that this is going to be Baldur's Gate 3, and I expect that we'll see more information about this at E3 this year. As for localization and release date updates, got some bit of a bummer here. For people who like Wizardry, Labyrinth of Lost Souls, that was recently announced to be coming to PC. This was a game that had been released on the PlayStation 3 and the Vita, I do believe. Well, unfortunately, it was going to come out on the 29th, but Xseed said, quote, "Due to an unforeseen issue involving IP licensing, the game cannot launch today as previously intended. We apologize for the sudden delay and thank you for your understanding. We'll be sure to keep everyone informed with a new release date when it's solved." Now, this is kind of a big bummer because the thing is, licensing issues are they're a bit of a pain in the butt to navigate, and the fact that this kind of came up last minute would imply to me that maybe they got like a cease and desist by a competing rights holder who might have like PC exclusive rights for the whole Wizardry franchise. I don't know, but that's sort of what that smacks of. The fact that that happened so last minute, and untying that is going to be a pain, I do believe. We also got a trailer for Destiny Connect TikTok Travelers. They got a new trailer and a new release date. October 22nd in the United States, October 25th in Europe. And this trailer, I think, has sort of checked my expectations a little bit. I was previously very excited to see that this took place in like 1999 and involved time travel and had kind of a cute kind of art style to it. And it still has all of those things, though I think it doesn't look as exciting in motion as it looked previously. And I'm still looking forward to trying it out. I think that my main problem with it is that so far the trailer makes it look like it's made for like 10-year-old kids, and I don't know. Maybe I'll still enjoy it. I mean, Wind Waker also sort of looked like it was made for kids, but it was a lot of fun. So maybe this could still be really fun, and maybe the trailer just doesn't do the game justice. I really hope that that's the case. In other updates, Square Enix has trademarked Collection of Mana in Europe on May 31st, and if that sounds familiar, it's because earlier this year they also trademarked it here in the United States, and then we didn't hear anything else after the fact. Now, this is on the heels, more or less, of the Seiken Densetsu collection being released in Japan, which would imply that maybe they're trying to port that over to the United States or to the West. Take that with a huge grain of salt, but the fact that it's happened here in the United States and Europe now, I think it's kind of promising. Don't get your hopes up, especially don't get your hopes up for Seiken Densetsu 3. But maybe if they could bring that to the States, I would be so happy to be able to finally get that in some sort of official capacity. But again, it's still not official. Nothing is set in stone until we get some actual announcements from the horse's mouth. But seeing this also happen in Europe is cause for some hope, some renewed hope for people who have been waiting for it since the United States trademark was filed. And also a quick reminder for people that this week on June 5th, Nintendo is having their Pokemon Direct, their Nintendo Direct. They're going to just talk about Pokemon. I still have hope for an open world Pokemon game. I still really hope. Is it wrong for me to have that hope? I don't know. I don't think so. It's probably not going to happen, but that's my hope, is that they will talk about that in addition to Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield. But hey, we also have some community news to talk about today. starting with Morrowind Rebirth version 5.0, which just launched. Morrowind Rebirth has been around since, like, what, 2011? It's been a long-running series of mods and updates, and I think they're even actually on 5.0.1 now, so they've already got some new bug fixes. If you're a fan of Morrowind and modding, then this is something you should definitely take a look at. Also, here's a fan project that definitely caught my attention on Twitter earlier. Octopath Cross Final Fantasy VI fan art. This video that somebody put together, just sort of proof of concepting what would Final Fantasy VI look like if it were done in the style of Octopath Traveler, and the answer is amazing. It's really whetted my appetite. It sounds like he's going to be doing some other videos sort of like this with other parts of the game, maybe even other games. So if you're interested, yeah, follow the link here, maybe follow the guy and let him know how cool this looks, because it does look cool. Keep in mind though, this is a video, not a work in progress. This is just a guy's art project basically, not a working prototype, so don't get your hopes up too far for that. Now, we also got a bit of news for another fan project, the fan translation Project Exile, which is Fire Emblem 5 Thracia. Is that how you pronounce that? Thracia? I think that's Thracia 776. It is the 5th Fire Emblem game released for the Super Famicom that has recently gotten a full English translation, which is no small undertaking. So huge congratulations to everybody that I just talked about in community news. I really love being able to talk about the stuff that's happening here in the community and the stuff that really gets me excited. If you guys, because I'm not in all of the little corners of the JRPG scene, if you guys have some community news that you'd like me to talk about next time, be sure to tweet them to me over at SuperDerek RPGs on Twitter. And in SuperDerek news, I am nearly done with Fallout New Vegas. I think I'm like 80-90% of the way done with the stuff that I plan on doing anyway. And you can look forward to a review soon, maybe 2 weeks. Because I think I'll finish it this week, and then give me a week to make the video, and that's when you'll see the review. The next game, though, will be voted on by people in the Discord server. Supporters in the Discord channel have a special area where they can vote, but the Discord server is available for all JRPG enthusiasts who happen to also like this channel. A link will be in the video description if you feel like hanging out with some of the coolest people on this side of the internet. Which, I do. It's really fun. Cool people. Also, we have some new RPGs coming out this week, including Persona Q2 New Cinema Labyrinth, which is a first-person dungeon crawler and is also somewhat likely to be one of the final 3DS games to be released. Let that sink in. The 3DS. This is the only one that I know of that hasn't been released yet, and it's coming out this week. Anyways, Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 2 is a turn-based RPG, I do believe, that's coming to PlayStation 4, was already released on PlayStation 3 and Vita. I haven't played it yet. I want to, though. I hear lots of really good things about the Trails of Cold Steel series, and I really do want to play it eventually. Elder Scrolls Online. Elsewhere is an expansion to the Elder Scrolls Online, and that's going to be coming to Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. The Elder Scrolls Online, you may recall, is the more successful version of a Bethesda-based MMO, so if you're interested in this sort of thing, and odds are pretty good, you should probably check it out. I always liked the thought of seeing what Elsewhere looked like, the home of the Khajiits. Anyways, moving on, Legend of the Tetrarchs. It's a turn-based indie RPG that's got some pixel art, and I think it looks kind of good. I haven't seen a whole lot of it, but based on the trailer, visually speaking, it definitely has a certain charm to it. It's coming to PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and to Xbox One. Timespinner, we talked about that earlier today. That's a side-scrolling action RPG that sort of looks a little bit like Castlevania. That's going to be coming to Xbox One and to the Nintendo Switch. Again, it already came out on other platforms. Warlock 2 Godslayers is a side-scrolling action RPG as well, and that's making its way over to PC and PlayStation 4 this week. And we have the question of the week this week. Who is your favorite JRPG sidekick? It's kind of tough, right? I think my favorite JRPG sidekick character is probably going to be Null from Lunar 1. And Null is kind of a wisecracking, flying, talking white cat thing. he's the best friend Hero, and he's super cool. And or not Hero. Hero was Lunar 2. Alex from Lunar 1. He's super cool. And yeah, if you haven't played Lunar 1, you should definitely give it a shot. Although, you know, Alex has another friend. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now. He's the merchant guy. He's also a really cool sidekick character who doesn't really stick around too terribly long, but yeah, he's also really just a fun character, I think. I think Lunar 2 had some good characters, or Lunar 1 and 2 both, honestly. But anyways, I'm starting to ramble. Anyways, thank you all so much for joining me today. I am SuperDerek, and this has all been news to me. See you next time, guys.